FlightBoss, bitch. You're now in the mind of an Antares moon. I'm the Archangel's Uriel. Hey, I can't even say my fucking beginning right because the sun is in Gemini, and by me being a sun in Aries, it's like the energy of everyone's actions from a perceiver, not as you as you looking out, but as you receiving, is very scattered. Like let me run down this real quick before I break down the motherfucking this week's transit from what's today? 8th to the 8th and to 7 days from the 8th. So y'all calculate your own weeks. But when the sun or the moon is in a Pacific sign, right? And when it's making a transit, and then when you look at your personal natal chart, I don't want you to think that this is what you're gonna do. If you want a personal reading, I could do that. But this is more of an influence of what you're gonna have to deal with. So just because the energy may, like, all right, for me, this is an example. I'm a sun sign Aries, right? So the sun is actually sextile, and actually it's in a direct sextile because I'm 17 degrees Aries, and my rising is 17 degrees Leo. So my rising and my sun is in a conjunction, but they're also in a conjunction sextile with the sun in Gemini right now, 17 degrees. So I can experience an earth sign, or I can experience a water sign, or I can experience another fire sign, and it'll still give me a sense of the Gemini energy in order to align myself. Now, the traits that they're giving to me may be in their own way, in their own Capricorn, in their own earth way, in their own water way, in their own fire way, but the overall situation always aligns with some form of communication, though, just because that's where the sun is at. So I don't want people to think that, oh, the sun is squaring me right now, or the sun is sextiling me right now, so these are the people I'm gonna have to deal with. No, you may not necessarily deal with a Gemini or another air sign. You could very well deal with other elements now, but the construction of the playground that y'all on is going to be in a Gemini sphere of reality. So it's going to deal with communication within the self, but building up the courage within the self to actually output these intellectual thoughts. So what's happening is a earth sign would do it in their way, a water sign would do it in their way, a fire sign would do it in their way, and air signs is already compatible with this energy. The reason why I'm saying that is because I've been it's scattered, and my moon is a trine to my sun and my ascendant, but it's not a conjunction. It's not 17 degrees. It's actually 8 degrees. So what's going on is it's a trine. I have a grand trine. My sun is Aries, my moon is Sagittarius, and my rising is Leo. You know what I'm saying? But okay, this is what happens though. This is what's happening right now from damn, I keep forgetting to see this. I got a forgetful energy right now. Everything. Like I better keep all my personal belongings with me in a place I know where it's gonna be. What, Ma? Marissa, what you doing? What you doing? I'm in the car. Oh, I said, what you doing? What you doing? I said, what you doing? I said, what you doing? Oh, okay. And damn. It's like I'm thinking of 6 different. I could really talk about what's going on with this week, but just talk about what's going on with me right now. It's like I'm trying to think about 3 or 4 different things at one time. It's kind of taking slightly the focus off what I'm actually trying to do, and it's making me point my attention, like attention that I wouldn't usually be pointing my attention to, and I stay focused. I'm actually pointing my attention to now. So it's like a heightened sense of curiosity going on in my head right now. It's like, and that's just because the sun is a Gemini right now, so it sextiles my rising and my sun, but it opposes, it's in opposition to my moon. So what's going on is the way I may feel about things may be at odds, but it's still relatable because I see opportunity with my personality and my actions. So I see in this time where the sun is in Gemini, I see opportunity with actions. Like I can act on opportunities now. Like I could act on groups and friends and act on ideas and stuff like that. And I see opportunity with the personality. During this time, I have since it's sextile with my Leo rising, I have the opportunity to actually figure out what's wrong about myself through others and look at what's wrong with others through myself and be able to work on that, be able to work on the self and my personality and my personal, because Leo is my first house. Now it's in opposition to my moon. So what's going on is the way I may feel may not be what's going on at this time. You know what I'm saying? But the moon is in Pisces, so that helps it out a little bit. So sorry, y'all. Let's get into what's going on to the 8th and 7 days later in June. Okay. Now, I basically ran down what the sun is going, but the sun is still in communicative, and right now it's in the potency of Gemini. So it's not catching any influences from Taurus, and it's not catching any influences from Cancer yet. It's right there in the 10-degree circumference of the potency of that sign. So right now, this is actually Gemini trait season with no infiltration, but it's being squared by Pisces. So a lot of these thoughts, a lot of the many thoughts that may be going through your head right now, you're going to be attaching emotional feelings to it. You're going to be attaching emotional stabilization to it. So you could think of something that may go in one thought process and not the other thought process. Usually you can't do that now. Now that before that thought process can even render into another thought process, you have to build an emotional stabilization behind it in order to move on from it. And it's like that's what every thought now. You could just have a regular idea and you're going to have some kind of emotional attachment to it. So right now, everyone is emotions are heightened right now also because the moon is in Pisces, and people could kind of sense the emotional state and the actions of people. Since the actions is in Gemini, and then the reactions is in Pisces, which is the moon. So people can sit back and analyze a person by just hearing certain things they say. They can analyze a person by certain body movements, certain body gestures, certain mannerisms, and people are able to intuitively tell what's going on with another person by how that person is approaching things, or maybe approaching you or approaching something else, or no matter the situation, people can have a sense of what's really going on behind the words now. Just like the past couple weeks we've been having, people are going to care about things they shouldn't care about, and then the next following week, it's like an ongoing phase. Like the sun sets the stage for all the little pieces that's going to go on with it. So right now, by the sun being in Gemini, it's setting the stage for communication within the self. But all these other planets is helping it go outward. So people have to be careful what they're communicating for the whole month, for the whole 30 days, 30 degrees. But the transits that the moon and everything else be doing is how it's going to happen and how it's going to go about. You know what I'm saying? So the moon is in Pisces now. So this is how it's going about that inside. People are communicating within themselves more than ever, because Pisces is a receptive sign, and it's in the moon right now. And by the sun being an extroverted sign, and the sun is people's actions, people are putting the communications into actions, but the moon jumps inside, and the moon is in Pisces, so this communication is diving deep inside. And where Gemini is already inside the head, is right now is going inside is going inside the head and inside the membrane, inside the intuitive psychic nature. So people are be able to come up with ideas just based off seeing something. You can see something that has nothing to do with what you're into, but you can see it, and now you can apply that to what you're into and be able to come up with a whole new idea because of the illusion and the Neptunian traits that Pisces carry is able to turn a dream into reality. But since the sun is in Gemini, you're already coming up with 100 ideas, whether they're valid or not. You got the ideas. So with Pisces moon here, you're able to take each idea and formulate it into an illusion. Now, depending on where Mars, Mercury, and everything else at, is how well people are going to be able to put this shit into action. So let's look at it. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at it. Okay, the Mercury is in Gemini and it's in retrograde, so it's moving back. Mercury, I did some kind of meditation last night. You know, my meditation ain't near normal. I smoke a blunt and look at the sky for a whole hour. Check this out. Mercury goes direct sometime this week. What's today? The 8th. It's in 4 degrees. So it's gonna take 4 degrees. It's gonna take 4 days to go back to 0. So it'll go stationary and then it'll go direct. So Mercury goes direct in, like I say, the late 10th or the 11th, maybe the 11th or early the 12th of June. Mercury goes back and direct. So anything you got, look at it like this. You got a pot right now, right? And you got a pot. Now, put it like this. You got 2 pots, right? Now, you got the pot that need to be stirred up, and you got the pot that's already stirred up. Now, the pot that need to be stirred up, however well you stir it and how well you get all the ingredients bind together where it should be, when Mercury go back in direct, everything should run smoothly. When you stirred the pot that need to be stirred, anything that you got lazy on, anytime you feel like you don't need to stir that much and whatever like that, and you kind of slacked on it, whatever like that, when Mercury goes back in direct, that means it's time to serve this plate, whatever you're making in a pot. You're gonna have a lot of lumps in that pot. So let me re-analogize that. Anything you do, like as far as business, acquaintances, relationships, friendships, anything you do in the Mercury retrograde, anything you do when it goes in direct, it stays. Anything you did when it was in retrograde, it stays in the retrograde. So when it goes in, so if you got a relationship with a female or a male, and you decide to cut all ties during the Mercury retrograde, then when Mercury goes in direct, you don't have to worry about this person until the next Mercury retrograde. Like this is, you're gonna have an emotional state of it doesn't matter anyway, and you're not gonna cling on to it the same way you may cling on to it for the next amount of days until Mercury goes in direct. Now, any relationships that you've had problems, but say y'all split apart in the Mercury retrograde, but you still keep contact, you still trying to, it's unaware of what's really going on, so it's not like a cut off all thing yet. You may not be speaking, but it's like a thing, like, you know what I'm trying to say. When Mercury goes in direct, something will bring you guys back together. So basically, when Mercury is in retrograde, this is a time for you to look back on things and fix all the pieces or break some of the pieces. So when Mercury goes back direct, you have what you need. If you look back and fix the pieces when Mercury goes in direct, it's going to put you in a path where you should be at. If you got lazy and didn't do the things you were supposed to do in the Mercury retrograde and start trying to start new shit and think new ways and don't handle what's supposed to be handled, when Mercury goes in direct, you're going to have a hard time because you're going to have a bunch of instability things and situations and problems around you when things should be going in direct. So you're going to be squared off yourself. You know what I'm saying? Venus just went into Leo, so it's actually in my 12th house now because it's in 3 degrees Leo. So I'm not feeling the effects of Venus, not just yet, but in my subconscious I am, because I have a beautiful outlook on things that people may not No, because the subconscious ain't really there to express. It's really just there as an inner state. So I have a beautiful outlook on things. You know what I'm saying? But when it goes into my first house, which is going to be in like 8 days or something like that, I'm going to be beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to appear beautiful to people. And I could be the ugliest person in the world, but it may be something that's going on within that transit energy that's going to make me appear more beautiful. Now, this is for Leo risings. For Leo sun signs, it's actually, Venus is actually going to make your actions beautiful. Like you could do hateful things to people, righteous things to people, but it's going to make it seem not so harsh and more agreeable and acceptable by the opposite sex and other beings. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to get into it because I could do a personal chart. I want to talk about today's transits. Venus is in it just went into Leo. You know what I'm saying? Which is sextile and Jupiter. It's in a trine with Jupiter. So a light trine. It's a light trine. So Venus and Jupiter, wherever Venus is Jupiter, you want to go look at that in your chart. When Venus and Jupiter gets together, it creates a harmonious expansion. Like groups you may be amongst, family members you may be amongst, any type of work you may be amongst and stuff like that. Venus is gonna set the environment, and it's in Leo, so it's gonna set a stage. It's gonna set a stage environment for harmony. And anytime you get disharmony or anything like that, you're gonna run from it and not want it a part of what's going on. And then when you place Jupiter here, which Jupiter is already here, it's going to expand them qualities, but give people a lot more knowledge and wisdom on what harmonious situations are supposed to be like. So people are going to be more aware of what it's supposed to be like when you're in harmony. And anytime the slightest disharmony, people are going to jump all over it and not going to want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's expanding wisdom on it. So people are going to expand their knowledge on it and expand their actions on it too. So let's go to Mars. Where is the actions? Mars is actually in Gemini. So people's actions intent is agreeable with their actions. So people's actions is just to communicate within the self, and Mars is the intent. So people's intent is the same as their actions. So the intent of their actions is in a trine. You know what I'm saying? So you got Mars, Jupiter, Venus. You got Mars in Gemini, Venus in Leo. Saturn is in retrograde. It's finna go direct, but right now it's in 0 degrees Sagittarius. So it's opposing the sun. So like I said in the other videos, it's an opposition. The people's actions is not going to be that much agreeable with work. People may, like at this time, people may even allow you to do communicative things at work. Like your manager may say, go ahead and take a break to talk. Go ahead and watch the game. Go ahead and do something at work, because work is not actually a serious thing going on right now, because it's opposing the sun. And Saturn is in Sagittarius, but it's 0 degrees. So you catch aspects of a emotional nature. So people are working hard on their emotions, but they're working hard on their emotions to be more spontaneous and to be more out there. Even you don't have to be spontaneous in your actions. You can be spontaneous in your emotions, but your emotions at this time trying to find something that's spontaneous that they could just let their emotions out, because the sun in Gemini is already pushing you to be extroverted, but with the thoughts inside of your head. You know what I'm saying? So when Saturn is here, it's more like you're not catching the exact phase of opposition, but you're catching oppositions, if that make any sense. Like you're catching the emotional state, but you need to be more spontaneous with it. But by the planet Saturn being here is making it hard to do both of those. And the sun is pushing you to do that because that's the stage that we're in right now. So, you know, that's here or there. You know, the sun, Mercury, and Mars is in a sextile with Uranus. Uranus is in Aries. So, you know, people right now is more than ever, you're going to see opportunity for change. So any change you need to take, you need to jump on it. Because when Mercury goes in direct, it's going to be a little harder to do that change. Because say this is change, and say these are the things that's stopping change from going. Now, right now, is you can look back and pick up stuff to use to not even have to see that change, to see the things in change. So when Mercury goes in direct, you don't even see this because you got the necessary tools that you left behind to go ahead. Now, if whatever you don't do in Mercury retrograde, when Mercury go back in direct, is going direct. Bing! Here's all the change. Here's changes, right? And you can't go through with it until you handle this one, handle that one, handle that one, because you didn't do it right. You didn't grab the tools when it was in direct. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, North Node is in Libra. I don't really like to talk about the North Node, South Nodes, really, because it really just holds on, especially where it's at now, is really talking about the past and the future of now. Not actually the person, but now. So if you want to know, like, North Node is in Libra. Here's an example. Libra is in my 3rd house. So the North Node is in Libra. So that's the house that I have to figure out where things is going. You know what I'm saying? 3rd house deals with close friendships. You're like close friends, not like associates. Like Aquarius deals with, the 11th house deals with associates. You can incorporate your friends with associates and make a bigger foundation. But the 3rd house is more about and then the 7th house is like Libra. That's a one-on-one relationship. You can have many one-on-one relationships with people and bring it all together. Air signs is and then the 3rd house is the relationship you have with yourself, communicative wise, and how you exert it. So when you communicate with yourself, you manifest yourself in situations, certain friends and certain shit in your immediate surroundings, and certain things you get into in your immediate. So in so many ways, it represents your close, your street, your neighbors, your close friends, your friends you deal with on a day-to-day basis, your siblings, your brothers and shit like that. So this, your sisters and cousins and stuff like that. So this house represents so by the North Node being in my 3rd house right now, which is my 3rd house is Libra, I need to, my future is gonna my future from a standpoint of where the North Node is going right now for a short brief period of time, like a short brief future, not the future of years and years later, like a short brief future, like weeks and months later, and what's going on right now. In my 3rd house, I'm going to have to deal with my future is going to lie into my relationships I have with close friends. And so whatever I do, I'm going to be able to be a helpful cause to people, close siblings and things like that. And even with writing and poetry and stuff like that, I'm going to have, my future lies in that right now. So I'm doing everything in my nature to do that. But that's why I don't like this, because you really have to apply it to your own personal transits, and to apply it what's going on right now is not going to make much sense to people. I can make it make sense, but it just won't. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's this little reading. Like, I didn't get too deep into the squares and sextiles and stuff like that, because I just let you know a general reading. You could go look at your own chart and see how a thing's going to apply to you, and just know how to apply yourself. Because really, all the squares and shit like that really only really hurt you. When we want to talk about trines and sextiles is having with itself, it's just the environment is setting for you. So it's important for you to know where your planets and stuff like that is at. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going on for this week. And get prepared, because next week, the lights is going to be on. We're going to turn the lights on next week. Next week, the lights is going to be on. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to be on. And for a lot of people, it's going to be an energy draining time, and for a lot of people, it's going to be an energy giving time. Because the sun is going to be going into Cancer. You know? I even think we got 2 full moons going on. Nah. No, that's not this month. I think it's next month. I gotta go do another couple 360s. But you know, for sure, FlightBoss, bitch. I can't even really, my mind is so scattered, I can't even really do an outro, nigga. Archangel Uriel, FlightBoss, bitch.